No, Brian tonight?
I'm filling in. He called me this afternoon, something happened and I'm filling in for him.
Yay.
Okay, I'd like to call the government ops, meeting to order tonight. Everyone and the committee is present except, Brian Muldrow has been excused, so I'm gonna chair the meeting. We have, Robert Shea, Mark Strong, and Ben Vitale. There are 5 resolutions tonight. And, I'd like to first entertain a motion to approve the April 10th, minutes.
Move it. Second.
Okay, any objections? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I see we have, Keith on the line. Yep, you submitted, a written report. Is there anything that you'd want to add to the information or update us?
Can't hear you, Keith.
Not unless anyone has any questions.
Okay, any questions for Keith? All right, thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Yep, and Sheila, you're up on the reports next, and you have 1 resolution for the summer hours?
Yeah.
Okay, and I just got some information about the that particular resolution, and for whatever reason, there were some questions that arose about it, so I'm going to be pulling GO3 at this point in time, so you don't have to worry about that. Is there anything in your report that you wanna, I guess I was curious about the 40 foils. Is that a lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've been getting more.
Wonder why.
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. And you know, so I was like 40 foils, and then there is a timeline that would need to be.
Yes, I have to answer when they come in within 5 days with an acknowledgement letter.
Yep,
And then to get the information, they give us 20 days. Unless for some reason it just takes a little bit longer, and then we can do an extension letter. And I leave that decision up to Fred.
okay, but within the 5-day thing is, yes, we have receipt of your foil,
Yeah.
we're gonna be working on it.
Usually I send them out the same day I get them.
Okay, all right. Anything else for Sheila? Okay,
I have a
great,
quick question.
all right.
Are most of those FOIL requests on a particular topic? The majority of them specified, they're just random types of things?
All different documents, reports, information.
Okay.
It just depends.
Just because I know there's several people who.
Come on.
In regards to the homeless shelter.
Yep, we get those.
That one probably
Yeah.
ain't your name on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Fred's not here tonight.
Nope.
No, and you're, there is a county attorney resolution. It says,
Yeah.
county attorney office.
Local law.
Go to, yep. Setting the local law to, look at transferring property or selling property, located at Beech Tree Road. And it looks like, there's some adjoining property. The county owns 61.5 acres. There's some adjoining property owner, Pierce Acres LLC has expressed interest in purchasing 11.4 acres of that said property. And that, this is a local law. If approved, we would sell that particular property for 18,000. Is that sort of it?
Yes,
Yeah, I can
Jen
answer any
has.
questions.
Oh, okay.
Facts on that, thank you.
Yeah.
We're.
Okay.
So so I was approached over a year ago, by Pierce Acres, with a request to purchase that portion of the property. It came to the owner's attention that a piece of that property wasn't actually his when there was hunting going on, and so we ended up posting county property to show where the boundaries were. And so he realized a portion of
This is
that he-
Pierce?
This is Pierce.
Uh-huh.
A portion of the property he had been farming was actually owned by the county. So he approached me to see if
We
there
gotta
was a
pay him for
way.
upkeep. We should pay him for upkeep.
Yeah.
He made that argument.
I think we have him arrested for
Trespass?
trespass.
Yeah, he was
Destruction of
He was
county
honest
property.
when he realized that it wasn't his property, came to us and wanted to try to rectify the situation and
And how
asked
did
if he
he
could.
discover it?
There was an issue with hunting
Oh,
last
okay.
year, and so neighboring property owners asked if, you know, the property could be posted. And so our property was posted and
Then he realized.
yeah, he
Yep.
realized where the line was. So with this, we actually had to go to both the town of Aurelius and the town of Troop to also get their approval. Because there's a deed restriction when we acquired the property. The deed stated that if we were to change any use of the property, that we would have to get their approval. So I did get their approval last year. I've been notified that we need a certified resolution from them, so it's going back through their towns this month to actually have like a certified resolution to approve that as well. But he has obtained a survey and an appraisal on the property. So 18,000 is what the appraisal came up with for that piece.
I don't see the map, but is it adjacent to the outlet? There's the
There-
river, the
there is.
Wasco
It
River?
is, so the county is retaining an 80-foot buffer between the river and his parcel
Property.
wherever possible. There's like a little piece near his property that we don't have that, but you know, that's nothing that
So we're
transferring.
We're maintaining pretty much an 80-foot buffer.
We're maintaining an 80-foot buffer, correct. And along with this as well, he has requested a drainage easement. So there's like
So you can put drainage into the,
it has been,
right?
yeah. So that his fields don't flood.
So both things will happen. We'll transfer the property and give him an easement
Correct,
if this passes.
correct.
The easement was fairly large, wasn't it? Didn't it?
Yeah, so
Think
initially
wow.
we had thought it would be smaller, but just kind of went with that, because he does like bring like an excavator down and the terrain, there's pieces of it that are kind of steep. So in that area, like it, just to give him some leeway.
And in all cases, we can't get rid of county property without local law.
So there's two ways that we can dispose of county property. If it's through a private sale, we need to have a local law that's subject to permissive referendum. We can also sell it via public advertisement to the highest bidder. So we actually do have some surplus properties that we declared as surplus last fall that are gonna be going into our
Like an
tax
auction.
foreclosure auction
Yeah,
this year.
okay.
With those properties, I'll actually be coming back to the legislature because our policy, and I believe it's based on New York state law, states that it still needs to be approved by 3/4 vote of the legislature, even when we do it via auction.
No local law, but legislative support.
Correct. Yes.
Make the motion.
Yep.
For GO2.
I'll second for a little more discussion, questions that I have. So this is gonna be one of those cases where, I mean, we currently have it due to failure to pay taxes in this one.
This property is not due to tax foreclosure. I believe we may have gotten it from,
Probably from NICEAG or something.
yeah, something like that.
Okay, so, well, my question was, we're not gonna have some long lost family member go, hey, I'm willing to pay for this, you know?
No, this is a county
Oh,
owned
okay.
property. This has nothing to do with foreclosure.
That was my question.
I believe years ago, NICEAG bought a lot of property along the river. And then they didn't want any more. They turned a lot of it over to the county.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Brian. Hello.
So we're not able to get financials done in a short period of time to get the reports into Amanda, so there's can't get me to report. Did I give away money?
I don't know.
This is when Brian does it.
And this is Brian.
That's because they flipped it over. Okay,
Did we always get this, these financials?
I usually reduce it down into a synopsis and give it to Amanda and send it that point. But again, after the financials done at the end of the month, and get the reports to her by
Yeah.
that
Can we get the non-Reader's
There's like-
Digest version?
Yeah.
Yes,
I had
okay.
like one day to do it and it's virtually impossible to do that on, so. You're getting the longer version here, but I guess to sum it up, our revenue coming into the county clerk's office, including the DMV records, building mortgage tax expense and interest, is on track of where it was last year. Year to date, we're about just shy of 320,000. Last year, we're 1.2 per year. So 4 months in, look at that, it's about a quarter of where we were last year. So we're right on track there. Large portion of that is from our DMV. If you look at page 3, Peter prepared this for us. It looks at our retention through the DMV compared to last year and this year. As you can see, the first 2 months this year, we talked about it before, how we had to change our retention. Everything was 10.75 across the board. So we noticed an increase in the first couple of months, but you'll notice a slight decrease in the last 2 months. But overall, we're decreased, where we're less, about $13,000 less than where we were last year, comparing apples to apples. But we're not comparing apples to apples. There's been some issues with the DMV computers and their retention, the way that they're calculating the retention, and they're finding out that we're not getting the full 10.75% on everything. So they're working on that. We're working on that. Peter's working with them.
When you talk about the retention, it's the reimbursement is that what you're referring
It's
to?
the
or-
retention, the money that we keep from
Okay,
any DMV
yes,
fees.
okay. So you're not getting the fair share
Correct.
based on the percentages?
Correct. So we're working through that with the state. And we're not the only county that's going through that. Unless just about every county is going through.
What did we get before, Brian? Was it
12.5 or 12.75 was in-house, in office. We kept online was 3.5. So they brought it together.
Okay, so now it's just across the
10.75
board.
across the board. Correct.
So really, our numbers should increase.
Increase, correct. And that's what we were seeing initially in the first 2 months. And now they dipped a little bit. So that's throwing up the red flag, and that's what
That
we're
something's
finding
wrong.
some of the,
It's the state.
some of the computer issues are going on. So
Thanks.
we're working on that. We're working through that. Just wanted to keep you apprised of what that was. But overall, we're down, I want to say about 500 transactions total in the office. But online we're increasing as well. So a lot of people are using the online, which is fine because we're getting the same percentage across.
Well, we
the
used to
board.
do a full court press to get people in here.
Correct.
And now it's,
Correct.
the incentive is not as high as it was.
And a big part of that too is dealerships. We're not getting big dealerships coming in because car sales are down. Obvious reasons. Rates are up. People aren't buying cars. Any questions on those reports? On page 4 and 5 is our Dreams project. Moving on that, we just wrapped up phase 1. We're moving into phase 2 now. Phase 1 was mostly my office, the county clerk's office, some other add-ons there. Now we're moving into various departments, some of the health departments, I believe it's in there. And we're moving into phase 2, so we're progressing nicely with that.
And there's 4 total phases, right?
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Great.
So month of April, if there's any questions on the financials, we'll move on to the next portion. So we had our Donate Life campaign for April 2024. Was a huge success this year. We hosted a kickoff April 1st, as we talked about before. We had recipients of organ donors and organ donor themselves, their families, some live donors and some families of deceased donors that came in and participated with us. And it was the first time that's happened in the 14 years that we've been doing Donate Life here. So that was very successful and well received. We submitted a photo that we did. Sarah, if you don't mind showing that first photo,
Is it the one?
the one with all the kids.
Yeah.
So we submitted this photo in our blue and green photo contest, which is statewide, and we won first place with this.
That's great.
So it's the first time Cayuga County has won first place in this division. So it moves on to a national competition as well.
If you win, what?
I believe it's a gift certificate for the
Recognition?
office recognition, bragging rights for the county office.
Mhm.
So we partnered with numerous local businesses. Simple Roast did their Loving Life Latte for a weekend that raised $250 towards our goal. We also partnered with Bivens Sales and Service. They gave us a very good price on an ATV. which we raised a bit over $15,000 towards that. $8,000 we paid for the ATV. So we were able to donate a total of $7,200 to Donate Life, which made us the top fundraising contributors in all the DMV offices in New York State. So we're very proud of that. That's, for lack of better terms, we blew everybody out of the water on that one. It's a very impressive amount. And I'm very proud of my staff for all the work they put into that. We did have the winner for the ATV that we did on the last day. Meredith Cohn from Donate Life came in to celebrate that with us and helped with the drawing. Mary Barriger from Skinny Atlas was the winner of that. So we offer our congratulations to Mary. As you can see in the next picture up there, that's us offering a check to Meredith for the $7,200 towards Donate Life. A couple of add-ons, we did a local art contest to piggyback off the New York State competition. So we had local winners with that. We were also very fortunate that in the state competition, we had 2 winners come through our office, 5th grader from Wasco Elementary and an 11th grader from Auburn High School. So huge congratulations to them as well. We also did an in-house contest for the YMCA preschool students, and we awarded 6 students for their work on that. So again, congratulations to them. And I'd like to send a thank you to Cases Unlimited, Cook's Village Diner, Bag of Nickels, and several other members in our community that helped us sell tickets and raise that money. So very, very large kudos to the DMV office, in particular, Peter Thomas as the supervisor, Sherry Cook and Lee Riley were very instrumental in making all this happen. So that's the end of my report. And I do have one resolution.
Bill 1, authorization to consideration of a salary increase for the deputy clerk 2 within the clerk's office.
Move it. Discussion.
I'll second it. I've asked 1,000 questions about this in terms of why would we be looking at changing the salary and the grade ahead of hopefully the study that we're going to be doing of the non-bargaining. But Diane looked into this and found that in 22, you had an employee who was a deputy clerk 3.
Correct.
Who actually was moved into a deputy clerk 2 position.
Correct.
And at that point in time, that position grade wasn't looked at, or for some reason, both of them were the same grade.
Both of them were in the same grade.
And that the deputy 3 position was not filled behind. So this person took the deputy clerk 2 position with no change in salary.
Correct.
And that you're asking for the relook at that grade, given the background that you have, and that the individual, your budget in particular has a senior typist that isn't filled, and you have no intention of filling this year.
Correct. It's a senior clerk position.
Excuse me, senior clerk. And you're looking to use the funding from that position to offset the increase in salary.
A portion of that funding, correct?
Yep. And that you'd worked with Diane about this new position duty statement, new grade. So this resolution would increase the salary and change the grade from grade 2 to grade 3 that was never changed.
You mean the other way around?
Yes, change 3 to grade 2.
From grade 2 to grade 3.
Yep. So, I mean, that's kind of, this came to your attention because this happened in 22.
Correct. So this, the person in the position now who's very instrumental in our department operations. There was a retirement back in 2020 from the deputy 2 position that was never filled. Later filled in 2022, so almost 2 years later, while both deputies split the duties of that position for those couple of years. And then 22, the deputy 3 was promoted to the deputy 2 position. So the deputy 3 position was abolished at that time. And so the person that was in that deputy 2 role assumed the deputy 2 and 3 roles. That she continued those right until now. And with that, there was no interest or no increase in pay at the time. The only increases that that person has received is just the annual increases that everybody else in the non-bargaining line has received. There's no increase in pay for taking on all the extra duties that she has taken on.
So currently she's doing the deputy 2 and the deputy 3
Correct.
work. And the extra money would come from the senior clerk position that's vacant.
Correct.
You don't plan to fill the senior clerk position?
I have 3 senior clerk positions right now, and I only have 1 filled right now. One person was just promoted out of that position into an index recording clerk position. So I need to fill the 1 senior clerk position, so they'll be forthcoming hopefully next month. The 3rd position that's been vacant all year, I do not want to fill this year.
I'd be happy to support this if we eliminate the senior clerk position that you want to get the money from that.
Okay. My concern is in the future that next year and on down the road as we on the Dreams project and we have the work inside the office possibly increase. That's why I didn't want to totally abolish that position.
Then
but,
you have to recreate the
Yeah,
position.
you'd have to fight another day. Yeah, right.
So
then.
let Ben finish.
I'm finished.
You're leading, my concern is if you don't abolish this position, a year from now, when, work increases due to, the Dreams project or whatever, you're gonna come back to this legislator and want that position filled. And we've given you an increase in this position. That money's no longer available from the senior clerk's position to partially pay the increase of this deputy clerk position. That's gonna, now the county's got to absorb that.
It's the other way around. It's a portion of the senior clerk's
Yes,
salary
yeah.
that would cover this. So there's still about
But-
$30,000 left in that.
But I understand that, but if you come to us and say, I gotta have that senior clerk's position because we increased.
That's the fight that you'll have to have.
Another day.
Another day. So to answer your question, I would be willing to abolish that position to make this happen for now. And if the workload increases when our Dreams project is through, we'll fight that battle another day. But I feel that's how important I feel this resolution is.
It's my position. I mean, I don't know how everybody else.
The money's already budgeted for it, so I'm not increasing, asking for an increase.
This is a non-binding position,
Non-bargaining. correct.
non-bargaining, not
Same thing.
So are you making an amendment to the last
I'll make
resolve
the amendment to the last resolve that
and
Abolish.
increase the position and abolish
The
the
senior
vacant
clerk.
senior clerk?
One vacancy,
Right.
just be clear.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Any further
With,
questions?
with the amendment, I guess we have to vote on the resolution as amended.
No, you
No.
gotta vote on the amendment.
The amendment first.
And can I get a show of support for the amendment to abolish the 1 senior clerk position in order to accomplish this?
Aye.
Okay, now vote on the resolution as amended, GO1.
Favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh.
You just voted for the amendment, but you're not gonna vote.
I don't have a problem with getting rid of the
Right.
position that hasn't been filled for a year. I don't have a problem with that. But I am voting no to give that person a raise at this point in time.
Okay. You vote yes?
Mhm.
Okay,
That's 3-1.
all right, it's passed.
Very good. Anything else from me?
No,
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Yep.
okay,
Oh, that's okay.
Next year, we gotta, that budget
Yeah.
increase is gonna be there.
Well,
It's a non-budgeted
well, yeah, that's,
increase right now.
that's why he needed to give up something to accomplish the increase. John,
Yes.
can't wait, can you? Well, you have the longest report known to man, so there you go.
I do.
No problem.
Keep doing.
Good afternoon. If you have any questions, comments, or I'd be happy to take those at this point in time. We are working on, a core set of projects, so I do try to just provide you continual updates as we move. A couple things we did roll out this, or one primary thing we did roll out this month was some IT security awareness training that has been deployed this week. So that will get all of our employees up to date on the latest cyber trends and get them educated on it.
That's the no before stuff.
That's
that we just
correct.
got. Yep.
Yes, yep.
And, I guess you're still working on the consolidated with finance and, I mean, you're still
Yep.
moving your way through
We're
that.
moving through. My next step is to meet with Grace Flowers from Finance to do inventory assessment there.
Mhm.
We have on-site assessments free charge that have been scheduled with Tyler Technologies. We're going to be conducting those in late May and then in June. So that'll do a financial assessment and it's called an HRM assessment, which is an assessment of our human resources, different solutions there. Then they'll produce a report, and based on those report findings, we can then start to target what systems we want to kind of prioritize and look at.
Could you just real quick give us a synopsis on the door access system?
Yes, yep. So historically, the county has utilized Windstar as the vendor to do our door access control and on employee ID badges. We have had a lot of problems with those, with that vendor in specific. Over the last few years, I've worked with Gary Duckett on trying to navigate through those challenges. We made a decision about a year ago that it's time to change. They also provide support for our IP camera systems as well. So the decision was made at that point to go to one centralized solution to kind of handle all of that. In conversations with our safety committee and Gary, we decided to move to a vendor called Verkada. So they provide an IP camera solution. They provide the visitor management system access downstairs. So when folks check in, they check in at that system, guests from the outside, I should say. They also provide the ID badge system and door access control. So this is kind of a phased project, but we are working closely with a third-party vendor to start the process to implement a door access control system. So we would be taking all of the controllers here at the county office building, taking them out, upgrading them to Verkada, and then integrating them into the centralized solution. So if we have door access control system with Verkada, our camera system with Verkada, and our ID badge system, it all integrates into kind of one system and really makes things secure. So we can provide folks with one single pane of glass. If we have to look at incidents, it's a really, really nice system.
I like to hear. Thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions for Tom?
Most all that stuff is proprietary, so it's like, you gotta do a complete changeover. too.
That's correct. Yes, of course.
Of course.
Okay, you have two resolutions tonight?
I
Okay,
move GO4 to
accept the grant money.
move things along.
Yep, second it.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And then, GO5, I talked to Tom, this is, maybe you could give us a little bit, even if we support tabling this until we have a little bit more information
Yep.
about, any rates we potentially would charge, what account the revenue would go into, why we're doing this in the first place.
Yes,
And
yes.
to clarify that $100,000 of in-kind, which is confusing me, but
Yeah. Okay, so if I could, just provide a little bit of history. So the whole reason why this discussion really got started was receiving a few different requests from different towns, villages, other municipalities to help support the computer-aided dispatch software, which is still our.
that's what the
dispatch
CAD
software.
goes, well, the
Yes.
CAD, and I'm like, what's that?
Yeah.
Computer what?
The CAD system.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Correct. So we started getting a lot of different requests.
I'm sorry. Computer assisted. She wanna know what CAD is.
Oh, computer aided dispatch.
Okay, yes.
Mark knows, the rest of us are.
Yes, right.
amateurs.
No. So we started to receive some questions about helping support that system because a lot of these different towns, villages, the city, for example, they all connect back to our server to get access to that dispatch system. And some of the issues that we have been finding that in some of these towns, villages, et cetera, is their technology infrastructure and their endpoints and their devices are all outdated. And as we move forward with the system and we upgrade our system, they're falling out of date and out of scope. So they are going to have connectivity issues, they're going to have hardware issues, and so on and so forth. As far as I know, we got into some sort of agreement about 10 years ago with these municipalities that this must have started at the 911 center, but there's no official MOU in place for that support. So this was the idea, and not only Spillman, we also have with our assessors, we have the tax system that they have to come in and connect to. And then we are also providing assistance with websites. And so we're already doing all of this work, but we're not getting any revenue.
So we're kind of the lead.
Mhm.
In order for them to work with us, they have to have compatibility with us.
That's correct.
And they don't really have the technology or expertise to get that without
Or
support.
support, that's correct.
So you're not looking at spending $100,000 worth of in-kind. I mean, you're
Yeah,
looking at
so-
project.
Yeah, so I should clarify that for sure. So the $100,000 really is just kind of a marker in place to kind of first do an assessment of the town or the village and see where we can help, because we definitely want to look and try to modernize and make sure that they have the security in place to support the connections. Because the last thing we want is to provide them the connection to the system. And then, God forbid, they get compromised and it can create a massive problem.
And we should lead this instead of them because it's our system.
It's
I
our,
mean,
yeah, I mean, it's our system. And I think that, you know, being, in my opinion, being the county entity, we want to take the lead. We want to make sure that we're all kind of on the same secure platform and we're able to then kind of cooperatively purchase some of this stuff and provide a savings, not only to them, but to us as
like
well.
group purchasing.
Correct.
Because initially it looked like you had so much staff that you were just gonna
No.
go
it's
out
not.
there and
No.
drum up business.
No, as I said, we're doing a lot of this work already, but we don't really have anything in place to recoup some of that.
So a lot of this is already happening so that
Yes.
they can stay connected. This will put a dollar amount on what might be paid and where the money will go.
Yes, and it will help us too from the support standpoint because we can ensure that all their equipment infrastructure is up to date, so we have less phone calls.
And that's what probably should be in a clarifying resolution.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if this will help, and I believe I understand it this way. It's like our 911 system,
Mhm.
when you pick up the phone and call, the number that they see on their screen is basically the tax map number. You know, like my address is 2497.
Mhm.
That comes up, that's a county number that's assigned to my address. That comes up on the CAD system, and to make all that work is the information that he needs from the towns and villages.
Yeah.
That's a very, very simpleton explanation of what he's talking about, I believe.
So, I mean, unless I'd make a motion to table this and have it come back next government ops meeting with that kind of detail
Okay.
and some of the background.
Sure.
Okay, because if we are gonna charge them, what is it? And,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
where will the money go? And, yeah.
100%.
Second. Hey,
All in favor?
That's what makes it work.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think it's vital.
All right, great. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I think, oh, I'm sorry, Kevin.
I'm not even gonna sit down unless you have any questions.
No, sit down, please.
It's pretty straightforward this month for sure. Gearing up for warmer weather and I tell you what I've been doing recently, but then I wouldn't have anything to say at the next report. Steady with veterans coming in, for claims benefits.
So you're working to reactivate the Robert Stryker thing in Troop. What?
Correct.
Can you just
So
thumbnail what?
we need about 10 people to volunteer to be members.
Mhm.
And then we can say it's an AMVETS post. And then it was affiliated with the VFW in Montezuma. What happened with AMVETS a lot, especially up here, is the American Legion used to be you had to serve during wartime. And they dropped that restriction. So American Legion became much more inclusive. Like AMVETS is a very inclusive. If you served or if you're currently serving, you can join AMVETS. And so a lot of the AMVETS posts just kind of went away because there was no need to have the AMVETS post. But we're wanting to recognize Robert Stryker. And the other reason I want to do this is we have veterans who have substance abuse issues who don't want to go to a Legion or a VFW that has a bar. So if we can activate a post that meets somewhere and the Ed in troop has said they can meet at the town hall, maybe we can use a restaurant or something like that, then they're away from the alcohol. So that's the motivation. It's not happening overnight. It's gaining a little bit of traction, but as we all know, people are not volunteering for things like they used to. So I'm going to keep it on there. I'm going to keep plugging at it because I think it's a worthwhile cause.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to spread the word about, keeping Robert Stryker's name. There is a ceremony the day before Memorial Day at the gravesite to honor Robert Stryker as well. And that's really the impetus. Right now, the Vietnam veterans are doing that, but the Vietnam veterans are slowly fading away. And so if anybody's going to carry that on, we need somebody who's going to carry on that tradition as well.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Kevin?
Keep up the good work.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. Good. Motion to adjourn?
Resolution, ledge 6.
Ledge 6,
Ledge.
yeah, that's a legislative
I
resolution.
don't think we have.
No,
You just didn't.
we're fixing today, apparently it'll come on the legislative agenda, but this is extending the ability to do video conferencing for public meetings through July of 26.
Yeah, when they changed the open meetings law, they put a time limit on it. So we have to go back and look every 2 years.
And if once this expires, there would be no more video participation, or you can still,
It's getting more.
You would have to have all your legislators, you could only count the people in the room.
you could televise it for the public, but
Right.
you can't participate if this was to
Correct.
expire. Okay,
The restrictions are getting
but yes,
tighter.
all right, but that will be coming up at the ledge meeting first. Oh,
Motion to adjourn.
all right, great, thank you.
Triple it, quadruple it. I do the
5 minutes. Before we get started, did everybody get the report from the convention at Visitor Bureau? Legislator that didn't, just let me know. On that note, we'll call the meeting to order. Looks like everybody is here present. So I'll start by asking for a motion to approve the minutes of the April 10th meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Motion in a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll right on to our departments with Carrie.
So first, apologies that my report is quite long this month, but I wanted to share a little bit more about what our department is doing in light of the fact that we're down to staff. So just so that you guys kind of get a better glimpse of the things that we're working on. Happy to answer questions about any of that, particularly some of the upcoming things. Wanted to give you some highlights of some likely grant applications for some countywide initiatives. One thing I do want to share that came in after I submitted my report. I've been working with Central North Regional Planning Development, or particularly Amanda Mazzoni, with their energy community division. As you may or may not know, the county is a certified clean energy community. We have our two electric vehicles and charging stations here. We have the solar project out at County House Road. We have got to submit some paperwork, but we have qualified with the submittal of said paperwork for two grants totaling $135,000 from NYSERDA. One is a $10,000 grant that we would get all the money up front, no match, to be used on future purchases initiatives for clean energy. The other is a $125,000 grant, still no match required. We would get 25% upfront. The rest is reimbursable on completion, similar to how we got the two electric vehicles some years ago. I've had preliminary conversations with Doug at the park on some ideas of how we can use that funding. If, of course, we get approval from the legislature to apply for those grants. A couple of ideas are some charging stations for EV cars out at Emerson Park that you can hook up so that people have to pay to charge their car there, just like they have to pay the parking for other things. And Doug's also looking at opportunities to put solar panels on the roofs of, their park office, maybe their garage, some other their utility-based buildings, not the pavilion, not the merry-go-round theater, to help offset the electrical costs to operate. Both of those types of projects are pre-approved through NYSERDA, so there's no extra lift for us to get the okay. We have to get some quotes that Amanda O'Grady can help with. She's already looking at charging station quotes for me. So just want to mention that, kind of get the feel of the body of, yes, go ahead and submit the paperwork to get those points awarded to us and be eligible. Before we go ahead with a resolution for next month's cycle to actually apply for those grants. NYSERDA's process to certify those points for us and make us eligible takes roughly 6 weeks. The pot is available, the grant funding is available through October 1st. So we would have to decide to get an application in before October if we wanted to take advantage of that funding.
So there's no hurry for this.
There's not a hurry.
June is fine.
June is totally fine. Amanda at Regional Planning has pulled together a presentation for me. Having our solar field, having our public safety building subscribe to that solar field gets us the bulk of the points. So she's done all that background, running down all the paperwork, and basically has the forms ready for me to finish filling out and submit, just to have NYSERDA say, yep, you're eligible. Then we have 3 months or so after we submit the application to actually get our quotes and get additional paperwork in before make a deal.
So from what you're saying, kind of agrees with a lot of my positions. I don't know about you folks, but charging stations, obviously they gotta pay. We wouldn't want solar panels on any historical buildings,
Chippa wouldn't let us have.
right? Well, and also, you never know with SHPO. And then I don't believe we would want any solar panels on the ground in any of our parks.
Yeah, certainly not in any area that the public would have access to, you know, so one thing that Doug and I would have to look at is the roof systems on the buildings where you would wanna put
Right.
solar and make sure obviously that they're structurally capable of holding those panels. But I think if push came to shove, we could put them in a location where they wouldn't be accessible to the public, they'd be secured and safe out of sight if necessary, you know, behind the utility building or something.
So. Any other comments from you?
How many charging stations are you?
We're hoping to do four.
Four.
Once we get the quotes back, we'll know what we can really afford to do with, you know, 35 total.
And you would, I guess you have enough ideas or thoughts to use up the whole 135. You wouldn't leave anything on the table.
We would figure out how to use it.
How to, once you, like you said, once you get the quotes back and
Right,
make adjustments
right.
there.
And there's additional, so that's the NYSERDA grant. NYSERDA will cover the cost of purchasing all of the equipment, the panels, all of the things. They don't cover installation. But there's a separate New York program called Make Ready that will cover 90% of the installation for the charging station and the solar panels. So once we get the quotes in, you know, we'll probably do a series of resolutions, one to apply. And then once we receive the grants and have a better budget after the quotes, say, here's the money here, you know.
And what the maintenance of all that's going to look like also, after installed and.
Yeah, I mean, so far, and you have to ask, Gary about the charging stations here at the building, but they're pretty low maintenance depending on how you install them.
Mhm.
Safety bollards and stuff are required to make sure people aren't slamming into them with their cars and stuff like that, but that'll help bring a different level of visitors out to Emerson Park if we have a place where people would be able to charge their cars.
Well, we would probably eliminate some negative comments.
Well, and it's very complimentary to the work that Doug just did up at the Sterling Nature Center where they've got some EV stations up there, charging stations up there now too. So just filling out our portfolio.
Yep. Any other questions for Carrie?
Good work with what you're all doing. It's a lot.
It is a lot, you know, we're excited about the countywide initiatives that hopefully will bring its grant application resolutions to you next month or July at the latest. Those will be kind of all hands on deck. The BOA, the Brownfield Opportunities Area is a light lift for us. That would be contracted out. There's some admin work from one of my planners on that. The countywide strategic plan is all hands on deck. We'll be working with all of our county departments, all of our other county agencies, closely with the city, county municipalities. Staff and I have talked about the 3 locations for meetings for every time we want to have a meeting, have outreach and input, so that we make sure everyone's involved in it.
I guess one other ask, I guess, there's a lot of work being done here with the towns and villages and stuff. I know we get reimbursed for some of that.
Right.
I think next month or whatever, if you could give us I don't want details, but the thumbnail idea of what kind of money these towns and villages are saving and what kind of revenue it brings to us.
Oh, yeah.
Would be helpful.
Yeah, we had that broken down back in January, and Steve did a presentation for those using Brownfield.
And anything else, any legislators? Thank you very much.
I have 2
Oh,
resolutions ready
That's
those an hour
right.
later.
No, I'm sorry.
I can come back.
They're right in front of me and I just. DPW 2.
Yeah.
Lead agency.
So as Ben might know, every year we have a set month, ours is the month of March, every county has one, where we accept requests to add land to agriculture. We received 3 requests this year. The Ag and Farmland Protection Board has reviewed those as required. The next part in this state mandated process is to set a public hearing by the legislature, who has ultimate decision making on what gets added or not. We also have to do a secret process. So this resolution is to declare county legislature as lead agency for seeker, authorize the chair to sign Part 1 form, and to set the public hearing for the June legislative.
Motion?
Make a motion?
Second. Motion and second. Any further discussion? I will only make a comment is that not all applications get approved. And there was actually one that was not approved this year, so it's not like it's just a rubber stamp, it's not.
I have, there's state criteria that we have to follow, and I will do a brief presentation at that public hearing so that you guys will get the scope of what we have to evaluate them against.
Yes.
What's the process if land comes out of this?
So here's the funny part about county agricultural districts, right? Land can be added once every year during our inclusion period.
Yep.
Land can only be removed once every 8 years when we do our countywide review.
Hmm.
And that's a different mandated ag and markets process that we do once every 8 years to recertify the district.
So if it's not farmed or used for that purpose, it just stays on the tax, it stays exempt and.
So the county agricultural district is just an extension of the state's right to farm law.
Yep.
Primarily against nuisance complaints for farms that are actually actively farming in the county. We have a lot of land that is not ag, never been ag, never gonna be ag, that's in the county agricultural district, based on methodology used when each of the 6 districts prior to the 2015 consolidation happened. Some towns said throw the whole town in, that's easier than getting 51% of landowners to sign a petition, right? Other municipalities followed that process. So
Aren't there tax perks if you're in
No.
this? No.
no, so on the agricultural land tax exemption form that all of our local assessors process, there's a checkbox that asks if you're in the county ag district. It has no bearing on whether they receive the ag exemption or not. They still have to have the land and the annual sales and all the other criteria met in order to get that tax exemption. And it's not the same as zoning. I get that question all the time.
Any other questions, legislators? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried.
Yeah.
PPW 3,
Okay.
climate submission.
So I have, as the resolution states, I have a senior planner that is leaving us. His last day on the books of the county employee will be the 13th, and that's your last physical day in the office will be tomorrow. Taking some vacation time. Going to Warren County on to begin the, so we wish him well. That leaves me with yet another vacancy to fill. And I've met with the personnel committee and everybody, and for the work that we have coming up, as I make my office, I'm asking if you fill that with just the entry level planner position right now, which in itself is a cost savings down from the senior planner position. We unfortunately have yet to fill our senior GIS analyst position. We made an offer, it was verbally accepted and then unfortunately formally declined, so we're still actively advertising for that. So the savings that we mentioned a couple months ago, have now just continued to increase, but, so I'm just looking to fill that. We did identify with, Diane's assistants that we have an open fill number available, so that's a fill, it's not a great fill, it's an unfunded planner position, in the department right now. And I'm looking to leave the senior position as an unfunded position for future growth and promotion of my 3 entry level planners going down the road in the future. It will remain unbudgeted, you know, at that point in time that I want to do a promotion, we would have to, you know, work that into a budget in advance, but.
Motion,
Second,
Stephanie. Any other questions?
So we'll unfund grade 27 senior. And we'll bring back, apparently it's been unfunded, if it's still on the books, it's been unfunded, a entry level planner, or we just refer to as a planner.
It's just a planner,
Planner.
but yes.
And that will bring your total planning staff, if they were all on board, to three entry planners or general planners.
Yes, I will have 3 planners if that gets filled.
Mhm.
A senior planner and an associate planner, and then senior GIS if that gets filled.
and did you say you have somebody within internally to take that entry planner
No.
position? No, so you.
So that is our base.
Yeah, this would be somebody new for
This would be
outside.
somebody
Somebody
new,
new.
yeah.
Okay,
We've been given authorization to start advertising. We haven't gotten any applications in yet, but we've got it out there because we try to hit people before they left college, at the end of the semester, try to get their attention. We've got some really great planners over the years that have worked their way up.
If no further questions, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all very much.
thank
I'll try to
you.
keep my report shorter.
Yeah.
It's great. Hello.
Smash. I would like to add something to my report that I did not get in this month, just based on timing. I want to report and comment on the unfortunate news of Wells College announcing their closure. I do respond as part of the rapid response team to the Department of Labor out of Syracuse. I immediately responded to the Wells announcement by attending the day on May 2nd, presenting to faculty and staff about, our services and our support that we can offer, funds for upskilling and retraining for their folks that are losing their jobs. They'll all be considered dislocated workers, which is one of our largest funding streams. So we can have the funds to support and react and assist with all of the faculty and staff that are in need of our assistance. So I did present and stayed for the day with another member of my team. They were very appreciative. It was a sad day. It hit them fast and hard, not just staff, but also hearing students, walking around the campus and such on breaks, just hearing the, sadness and anger, the whole gamut of emotions. So it was a very emotional time for them. That being said, today I received notice of warn. So the warn notice was received by the Department of Labor yesterday. 141 employees will be separated and they're doing a phased approach for termination. So first phase being May 31st, second phase June 15th, third phase June 30th, and then the fourth phase August 30th, with a few stragglers probably to wind out by December 31st of 2024. So they did send me a list of all of the occupations and the titles of the workforce, the current workforce. I've been looking at similar job leads and opportunities that match those titles and similar occupations to invite to a job fair that we're having on site. Wells has initiated that job fair on May 22nd. I'll be there for the day, presenting and supporting, and then offering some, assistance with resumes and have you. But I will be reaching out to some of the employers locally that do match up the skills. There's a lot of maintenance, a lot of technology, IT, a lot of accounting, but a lot of maintenance, even some transportation titles. So my recommendation is our community hospital, our correctional facility, some of those in Cayuga County Civil Service. We should also be present, along with, of course, my team being present there for the support part of it. But I am helping them with their job fair and bringing on the businesses and trying to support the dislocated workers that we now have
through the loss of college. That is not in my report, just because I submitted it prior. I didn't anticipate that at all. So it's really sad, it's unfortunate, but we are responding efficiently and fast and whatever they need as well. Other than that, if there's questions regarding the rest of my report, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from nobody? Other legislators? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Doug?
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Just a couple highlights. One, I did want to point out that Jason Cuddeback, the grazing specialist from our office, did win the statewide award for our division at the last the March meeting. So that was good recognition. Shows we have some pretty good staff there. He's been there about 20 years or so that was good for him. Does a good job. And so a lot of people that lost soil health work for us. So that was exciting to see. And right now it's just getting into our busy season. And if anybody ordered any trees, shrubs, they'll pick up this Friday. It'll be a little chilly, but we're gonna be out there giving all the trees out. About 250 orders came in so forth. So that's pretty good with leftovers for sale on Monday. So we're gearing up the rest of this week. Getting ready to take all those customers coming and picking up the trees. Yeah. Getting busy out there in the watershed. A lot of projects are getting let go. A lot of bids coming out. So so things are drying out.
What's AEM?
AEM, that's Ag Environmental Management Program.
Okay.
Multi-tiered approach to farm planning.
Got a lot of acronyms that we have to learn.
Oh, yeah, we love acronyms out there. Exactly. Been there almost 30 years. I'm still trying to figure some of them out. They're just like the ones earlier. It's like, what are you guys talking about? We all deal with acronyms nowadays.
Any questions, Scott?
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Get in touch with me if you have any.
Get after it.
No doubt.
Right.
Good evening. Want to start off just by thanking you for inviting some of our 4-H members and FFA members and our volunteers to speak at the last legislature
Did
meeting.
kids enjoy it?
Yes,
Did they?
yeah, they did good. From what I hear, they thought it was valuable.
They saw it on Full House too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did hear about that. Want to apologize too for not being there that night with some plans we'd already made for the spring break.
We didn't notice. The room was full. We couldn't
Right.
see it anymore.
But wanted to offer if anybody has any additional questions on what's going on there, please reach out to me. One thing, I wanted to, part of my official report, but the 2022 census of agriculture numbers came out from USDA. Just some quick. Quick highlights, and they do the rankings by sales, because it's an easier way of comparing cucumbers to cattle. In some respects, so we're now the #1 county in New York State by value of agricultural production. And if you look at on the backside, are some of our rankings, and there's a table there that shows our ranking compared to all the counties in the United States. So we're in the top 8% of all counties nationally for the total value of agricultural crops. If you look at livestock and livestock products, and that includes dairy, we're top 5%, and we're in the top 2% now for dairy across the nation. Those are just some of the quick highlights. Please take a chance, review them. If you have questions, please let me know. I will know on the front side, Some of the numbers, they report, farm income. Some of that is gonna seem like a very drastic change on a percentage basis. That has a lot to do with, they do this census every 5 years. So the previous one was 2017, which especially on dairy, was on an inflation basis, if you look at 2016, 2017, probably the lowest milk prices since World War II. So that's why that's such a huge jump on some of that income numbers there. And then the final thing is I've been working with the sheriff and the Farm Bureau on our Share the Road campaign to encourage people to slow down, have some patience around agricultural equipment and horse and buggies. And we did a series of videos. The sheriff tried to show them that judicial and public safety wasn't quite working, but I think maybe Sarah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Sarah's gonna try again for us.
Some tractors, trucks, and others, greater risk for crashes, especially if we cannot get extra space. Slow down countering. Agriculture is a leading industry across New York State. Ours here in Cayuga County see an increase in farm vehicles utilizing space during the spring, summer. Crashes involving like fatality. See a farm, especially this orange slow triangle. Slow down. Bay road markets operator may not see crashes affected. Let's share the safety is no accident.
So sorry, the sound's still not quite right, but I'll send the links. So there's 3 of these. They took about 3 hours of footage, and the total thing is about 5 minutes, I think, between the 3 videos, but that works well for social media and that sort of thing. So that's all I have for tonight. If there's any questions.
Any questions from committee or any of the legislators? Thank you very much. Karen has submitted her report, and Carl, I don't see Carl here. Been submitted his report. Kyle submitted his report.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to your docket. I think Gary also has a resolution also. Yeah.
You have my report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I could read my resolution really quick. Just read the name of it, so you got it in your packet. The resolution is PPW 1, authorizing an agreement with the best value bidder to allow the replacement of the county office building roof. 2/3 votes required. I'm not sure if you guys pass this now, because we gotta wait till after the public hearing really to pass it anyway. It's public hearing. Wait till after the public hearing before, but anyway, it'll be coming up, so you can support it or not support it, but we're gonna have to replace the roof.
And I guess the only questions I've heard from legislators around the room and stuff is, do we have any idea what kind of money we're gonna get from the insurance company when it was 30 years old?
Yeah, I actually, well, that's the problem. I actually did get have a response from them. I reviewed it. I've got to talk to Steve Lynch, and I want to send it on to Bergman to take a quick look at. But it was only in the neighborhood of about $150,000. But it's still $150,000 is a lot of money. But I got a few things I'd like to have Bergman look at to make sure it really is feasible to do what they're proposing. They would propose.
So 150,000 is projecting for the cost of the replacement.
No,
That's the insurance coverage.
That's what the insurance company is willing to give us towards the roof for the damages. See, what they're proposing, just so Reader's Digest, what they're proposing to do was not replace the whole roof. Just replace the section of the roof that blew off and the section that was damaged by it. Not even replace all of that, but recoat part of it and put the insulation back on the other part and put a roof over it. So it's a partial fix, not a complete fix. So.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Duckett? Right along.
Ben, could I ask one question?
Yeah, you can.
I thought we passed something that talked about taking it from your repair reserve. That's why we need a public hearing, and there's only 800 and some odd thousand in it, and we're gonna take that if we passed it, and then you'll come back at a later date and see if it's more than that and figure out where we'll get the rest of the money?
Well, I'll be honest with you, once we have the bids, we want to move on this depending on when the contractors can move on it. Until I found that there is some asbestos abatement up there, I thought we could probably do it for the $800-some thousand. But I'm not as optimistic as I was now because of the abatement. And plus, there's got to be some movement of some of the HVAC equipment in the penthouse, not the equipment itself, but the vents that go out to allow for the new code required height of the insulation that's got to be put on the roof. So it's running into a little bit more than I thought, but I'd like to think we wouldn't have to wait until June unless the contractors can't do it until June anyway. You know what I mean?
And with asbestos, is there an issue about when you do the work and what you gotta do for the people who work here? I mean, is all that gonna
Right,
happen?
well, what we've already had a discussion with the vendors. And one of the questions and we pointed out to them that the asbestos can only be removed. It's in the it's outside up above, but can only be removed when there's nobody in the building. So not during working hours. It's going to have to be removed after hours or before hours.
Weekends or?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
What, do we know what, how many work hours it would require to remove?
I don't. Until we'll have the bid opening, I think, it's May 13th. So we'll know, next Monday what's going on with it. And we can amend this resolution if it turns out to be more monies needed, at Ways and Means and or at the legislative meeting. Because if a contract, one of the things we said to the contractors also, we're gonna give, preferable consideration to people who can get it done the sooner the better, right? So we'll know all of that information before the legislative meeting, before the public hearing, the whole bit. So
And the potential cost.
and the cost, yeah, we'll know the cost.
You could amend the one resolution and add the additional dollars
Yeah,
to.
we can
We don't have to amend the resolution because we haven't passed the resolution yet.
Right. It will all have to be done. What I would propose to do,
We're just talking about it before the public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
what I would propose to do is take the information, talk to the powers that be. Steve Lynch, Aileen, and whoever wants to participate in it, maybe Ben as chair of the committee, and say, this is what we're proposing, and then basically draft of an amendment to the resolution that could be presented by one of the legislators at the meeting, right? And that way we'd have a one fell swoop. The public hearing is only for taking the money out of that, so that part of it will stay the same.
Yep.
But the rest of it could change.
But you have no idea what the cost will be in.
No, I don't.
Yep.
More work to follow.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions for Gary? Thank you very much. Doug?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a couple highlights from the report, just so everybody is aware, we did have this thing called the solar eclipse. I don't know if you heard anything about that. We filled all of the parking at all of our locations that morning and the relatively iffy weather that we had. We were full. We were at capacity. We filled all of our roadways up in Sterling, all the way out into McFarland Road. And I only mention it because I appreciate the upfront work that Riley had done, the sheriff's department had done. We knew where resources were all the time. We knew who was available to us and where everyone was. So it was really, the weather was a bummer, but the services and everything that were available were were really excellent, and the communication between all the departments was really great, so I appreciate all that help, and I think it was very beneficial. We do have some construction going on up at the park. The pavilion that was funded by, split between the county and the Crest Grant is like 75% complete. We'll be pouring floor in there next week and completing the site work that's there. So we'll have that obviously available for the summer. We just finished all the removal of all the sidewalks in front of the Merry-Go-Round Theater and the lighting there that desperately needed to be replaced. So that's all in process right now. So if you drive by or see that, that's there. We're finishing up with the help of Doug's crew from Soil and Water, all the lawn repair from the sewer lateral replacement up there. League has already started on the field, so all those, you'll see all that stuff going on up there if you happen to drive by. Tim had a pretty extensive report in here, as well as Jim did. I just put a highlight in there that obviously we did open in the Nature Center on the 24th. We did have some state and local representatives there, and we've had significant attendance every day. The building has been open. We're trying to be open every day. We're doing some supplementing with a lot of volunteers from friends. They're actually helping, man the building, as well as our current staff that's up there. So, where we used to see 30, 40 people a day, we're seeing over 100 a day most days, and the weekends are even busier. And we haven't really gotten into the season yet. So obviously there'll be a lot of traffic through the building there. That's really all that I highlight on there, I guess.
If there is no questions for Doug, and we'll entertain a motion for PPW 4. So move. Move Tom. Second Stephanie.
PPW 4 is authorizing an agreement with the Oswego Valley ATV Club to allow access to the Hojack Trail from the Oswego County west to the Cato Fairhaven Trail, and then the entirety of the Cato Fairhaven Trail for the 24, 25, 26 season. We have had this agreement in previous years. It lapsed. At the end of, there was some changeover in leadership at the club, and so we didn't have an agreement for last year, so it actually lapsed for about a year. There's a new group of board members there that are very interested in helping with trail maintenance. They actually helped us redeck a bridge, not last year, but the year before. So the group wants to reinstate an agreement that we've had in previous years, obviously after it's been reviewed by the county attorneys.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Otherwise, a small typo on the second, whereas it should be the 24, 25, 26.
Yeah, we don't need to count 24 twice, do we?
Oh, you do?
No, we don't.
Maybe there's some.
No, I don't. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I see that.
As you said, they're positive to work with, and
yes,
no problems.
Yeah. Yeah, and they help us with trail maintenance. We're gonna be a little more explicit in this contract as far as we're gonna be looking for maybe twice a year doing trail evaluations with them, and things like that in the contract, just to make sure that we have some criteria to meet to regularly do assessments. That's really what we're trying to add to it. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian. You don't have any resolutions, Brian?
First time since I worked here that I haven't had a resolution. I guess.
I've been too busy on Men's Church Road.
Yes, I probably completed that today. The only thing I want to add is, I talked with our vendor for the lifts move for motor pool. We're gonna start that tomorrow. So we'll start that move, and hopefully in a month or so, we'll have everybody back to 91 York Street. And we're gonna try to do it without ever shutting down.
Any questions for Brian, like the committee or any other legislators?
No questions. I won't say it just to jinx it, but the last line of the report, keep it going that one.
Oh, yes. Yes, that was good news. The funding was restored, so the 100 million that they're gonna take down. So yep, everything's good there.
All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
By hand. All in favor? Aye.